Hey guys, it's Tim, and this is Wrestling Unlimited, as it's Wednesday, and you know what that means. It means tonight was AEW Dynamite, and I thought as far as building stuff up for future Dynamites and Collision and whatnot, they did a good job tonight. But what they didn't do a good job for was building anything new for this daggum Forbidden Door show. We got Forbidden Door in 3 weeks. No, 2 weeks. 2 weeks. What? 2 weeks from Sunday, Saturday. 2 weeks from, no. When is it? 25th or the 24th? The 25th, right? This is a Sunday show. Forbidden. I should know this off the top of my head. It's the 25th, right? Sunday the 25th. We've got 2.5 weeks. That means we have 2 more Dynamites. We have 2 collisions. And then this Forbidden Door show where 2 things have been announced. Both were announced on the New Japan Dominion show this past weekend, and then we got nothing new at all tonight on Dynamite for Forbidden Door. Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing not announcing anything when we already know that ticket sales are just okay for Forbidden Door? Like, let's go to WrestleTix on Twitter and see what they're saying for Forbidden Door. Because last I saw, Forbidden Door was only doing okay. And it's like, ooh, so WrestleTix on Twitter. Let's see if they have anything up. When's their last tweet about Forbidden Door? Forbidden Door. Let's see. Forbidden Door. This was from 2 days ago. Oh no, they're doing good. They're doing good. Never mind. They're almost sold out. I'm wrong. I thought it was less. They're almost sold out for Forbidden Door. But regardless, okay, so people want to go to the show live. But now you need to build that interest to make people want to buy it, if you know what I mean. And with only 2 matches announced, now you're going to cram a bunch of stuff in. And I get what people are going to say. Well, they don't need storylines. They just announce dream matches. I get that. But you still want to know in advance different storylines so people can cut promos and talk shit about each other so you can kind of care. Other than that, it's like, what is this show for? And I know some people are also going to come at me and go, well, this is how New Japan always does their stuff. They always just announce matches with no real story build with most of it. So maybe this is just a New Japan trope that they're getting into, but I don't know. It's just something that kind of got me where it's like, you know, you got to promote this show better. They did a great job telling us about the show tonight. Danielson talked about Okada and whatnot. They had a great promo package, video package for Ospreay and Omega. But again, nothing new got announced, and there's only 2 more weeks to build this show up. But Luke, who's sitting right over there, what did you think of tonight's AEW Dynamite?
I thought it was just an okay show. Like, there's some decent matches on the show, don't get me wrong, but like, I really expected them to do more or build for Forbidden Door, because like Forbidden Door's coming up soon. How many Dynamites are there left to Forbidden Door? Like 2?
2 Dynamites,
3?
2 Collision.
Yeah, like they need to do a better job of like building it up.
Oh,
really,
and
because
technically 3 Rampage, if you want to get technical. Like I could.
I don't think
honestly,
they're going to use Rampage.
I honestly could see it. You do like some best friends segment with Rocky Ramiro and announce something there. I can see that.
What, Chaos versus Bullet Club?
Maybe, or an Orange Cassidy title defense gets announced on Rampage. I don't know. But
I was thinking they could do Orange Cassidy versus Ishii, because Ishii was supposed to be in that Fatal 4-Way last year.
Yeah.
For that belt.
Yeah.
But he was hurt.
That would be a very good match. That would be an awesome match. And actually, that match would be perfect with the, quote, injured Orange Cassidy going up against the brutal Tomohiro Ishii. But if they really want to give us a fun match, then you go Orange Cassidy and Yano. That could be a lot of fun.
And I don't know if they're going to have CM Punk compete on Forbidden Door. I mean,
He was supposed to face Tanahashi last year.
I mean, though, maybe they could still do that. They'd probably do that on Collision, maybe. Oh, I can totally see it. At the end of the Collision show, he says, last year I was supposed to face Tanahashi, but now this year, since I'm healthy and he's healthy, let's do it this year.
Right. Now I want to comment on something here in the YouTube chat really fast. Praddock Van Hade, I think I said that right. You're half right, half wrong on your comments. So he's saying, I do not like the main event match they announced for Collision. It was supposed to be CM Punk versus Samoa Joe. Actually, it was not supposed to be that because AEW never announced that. Nobody ever announced that. Actually, what we got is what had been rumored and reported. There had been rumors and reports that CM Punk and Jericho were going to work together at some point. Then there were reports that CM Punk wanted to work with Samoa Joe, which he is. Then there were new reports that he also wanted to work with Jay White. So in turn, Jay White, Juice Robinson, Bullet Club. Well, everything Punk wanted just got turned into one match. A six-man, a trios. He gets his good buddies and FTR by his side, and he gets to fight the three guys that he wanted to fight. Bullet Club Gold and Samoa Joe all in one match. So to say that CM Punk versus Samoa Joe was supposed to happen, was supposed to be the match, you're wrong, fella, because that was never announced by AEW. Unless it was announced by AEW or Joe or Punk or insinuated to be by anybody in that company, not Dave Meltzer or Sean Ross Sapp saying that's who Punk wants to work with, then that was never supposed to happen. No one ever said the first episode of Dynamite is going to be, or Collision is going to be a singles match between Joe and Punk. No, it was Punk wants to work with Joe. Well, is Punk not working with Joe in the trios? Think about it, guy. Think about it. Am I wrong here, Luke?
No, you're not wrong.
So, not trying to be rude if that came off rude, but I'm just clarifying your comments of, in case somebody reads it and goes, what did I miss? You're half right, half wrong. Because no one ever said Punk versus Joe one-on-one, but Joe wanted to work with Punk. And now, or Punk wanted to work with Joe, and now they're going to work together. But he also wanted to work with Jay White and Bullet Club Gold. So there we go. It's all just coming together in one match. They're kind of blowing their load and coming all over everything at once, but cool. Whatever. But with that, I want to say thank you guys for joining us here. Whether you're watching live on Twitch, live or later on YouTube, or listening on podcast services all around the globe, we appreciate it. Remember, you can watch live on Twitch, twitch.tv/PW Unlimited, live or later on YouTube, youtube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited, or on podcast services. You can listen all around the globe, like Stitcher, Spotify, Google Pod, Apple Pod, Anchor, iHeartRadio, and so much more. Remember, if you are watching live on Twitch, you can help us out a couple of different ways. You can either help us out by hitting that donate button down below, or by donating Twitch bits in the live chat. Also, remember, you can help us out by subscribing to the channel one of two different ways. You can subscribe with a tiered subscription, or you can subscribe with Amazon Prime, because remember, if you have Amazon Prime, then you have Prime Gaming. Prime Gaming gives you a lot of cool things like free games, free stuff for games, and you always get one free subscription to any Twitch channel you want to subscribe to throughout the month, and I'd greatly appreciate it if you did right here, Pro Wrestling Unlimited. Also remember that you can head over to YouTube, hit that join button down below, and become a channel member. As a channel member, you get early access to news, early access podcast episodes, early access to non-news videos, and so much more. Also remember, you can head over to the Epic Game Store. Head over to the Epic Game Store and buy something. Whether you're buying a new game, whether you're buying an old game, whether you're claiming one of the free games or getting bucks for Rocket League, Fortnite, or Fall Guys, use our code PW Unlimited at checkout, and you will be supporting us at no extra cost. Fortnite. They got their new Wild season coming up this Friday, I want to say, the 9th. Either tomorrow or Friday. I'm not 100% sure. And they got Optimus Prime in the Battle Pass. You want to grind to level 100 and get Optimus Prime? Use code PWU NLIMITED at checkout, and you will be supporting us at no extra cost while buying your stuff for Fortnite, buying your Battle Pass or whatever new skins they've got, your crew pack. Use the code and support us at no extra cost. But as far as Dynamite does go, Dynamite came to us from Colorado Springs, and Excalibur welcomed us alongside Taz and Tony Schiavone as they immediately sent it to the opening match, Orange Cassidy versus Swerve Strickland for the AEW International Championship. I really liked this match. I thought this was a great match to open up the show. I thought this was a great match to kick everything off. And if I heard them correctly, it's Orange Cassidy's 24th defense of the belt. This guy's held this.
I feel like there have been more.
Really?
I feel like there have been the amount of times this guy's always defending the belt. I feel like there's more.
True. I can see where you could think that. But it's like, this guy's had this belt for what? Almost a year now? It was Forbidden Door last year that he got it. No. No. Pac got it and then he beat Pac, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. It just feels like he's had this belt for a year.
You gotta think though, like, when did Pac lose that belt?
Well, let's go to cage match and double check that. Let's see. Pac cage match. So, if we go to Pac's matches on cage match, All Atlantic Championship. He successfully defended the title against Orange Cassidy on September 21st. Then he successfully defended the title against Trent on October 7th. And then the next week, on October 12th, actually just a couple days later, he lost it to Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy's had the belt since October 12th. November, December, January,
so
February,
not
March,
quite a full
April,
year, but
May,
he's getting there.
June. He's had it for 7 months. It'll be 7 months next week. Jesus. He's gonna go for 3 years like Roman Reigns. Or Gunther. Gunther about to pass Honky Tonk's record with that IC title.
They want Gunther to break records with that belt.
I want Gunther to break records with that belt. I want Gunther to be world champion, but I never want him to lose the IC title either. So it's like a win-win, lose-lose situation there.
How long did he hold that UK belt? He had to hold that belt for like a couple of years.
800 and some odd days. I can tell you. Hold on. Gunther held the UK title for how long did Gunther hold the UK title? I want to say it was over 800 days, but let's see. Why can't? Because I know Pete Dunne, or Butch, had the title for like 680. On day 870. Let me see. So yeah, Ilya Dragunov defeated him for the belt on day 870. So he had the belt for 870 days.
What if they give him like a similar like title reign for like that long?
Right? Alexa, how many months is 870 days? He held that title for 2 years and 3 months.
Heck, they're going to have him hold that IC belt for 2 years and 3 months.
When did he win the IC title is the question. Let's see. Gunther. And I know we're getting on a tangent here, not AEW talk. Here we go. Gunther. When did he win the IC title? Gunther became IC champion. Why is this not telling me? What? Oh, here we go. June 10th, 2020. So he's coming up on a year. He's at 362 days. So he's almost, so literally in 3 days, Saturday will be 1 year when he beat Ricochet for the belt. Keep it going. It's the longest reign. Oh, okay. Hey, WWE.com actually kind of answers that question we've been asking of what do they consider modern era? 2020 to now is modern era. Which is kind of weird. So they've grouped these. So they've got, okay. So they've got, oh, I see what they're doing. They're doing by decades because they've got 2010 to 2019 and then 2020 to now. But if we look at this, Gunther has the longest reign of the IC belt since, Honky Tonk in 88, 453. So he just literally needs to hold this belt for like less than 100 days and he beats Honky's record.
They decide to do another Clash at the Castle pay-per-view or premium live event. You should do him versus either Tyler Bate or Ilya Dragunov.
Screw it. Pete Dunne. Him and Pete Dunne were amazing matches. Like, I would do Butch. Butch is already known on the main roster.
Aren't they supposed to change his name back to Pete Dunne?
There was a rumor that it was talked about, but they haven't done it yet. Honestly,
I heard they were supposed to do it, but then because of the Brawling Brutes' popularity, they decided to put it on hold.
Well, that's what I was going to get at. Now, don't be like Partic and say supposed to, because no one ever reported supposed to. But anyways, I'm just joking. Well, no, there was talks of giving him the name back, but now they think that it's been too long, and people are just used to him being Butch now, and now they don't want to confuse people again or something. That was the rumor and report, but yeah.
It's never too late, though.
Exactly. But also, interestingly, when you go on WWE's website, you know how everyone kept saying that the new World Heavyweight Championship is supposed to have the old World Heavyweight Championship lineage? Well, according to WWE's website, there is no lineage for this belt other than Seth Rollins at all. It's just Seth Rollins. That's weird. Because, like, if you click WWE Championship, it goes all the way back to the 1960s. You click Seth's belt, it goes all the way back to Seth Rollins 11 days ago. But now I want to look at something. I know we're going off on a whole thing. Yeah, the old world title only goes from 2000 to 2013. But then when you click the new world title, only Seth Rollins. And it's an interesting one. So it's got no lineage past now. No past lineage. But as far as the Orange Cassidy Swerve Strickland match goes, since we're going to get back to AEW talk, Cassidy tried early mind games with his little kicks, but Strickland did a good job scouting by grounding the champion. Cassidy answered with a relaxed submission into a head scissor, sending Strickland to the floor. Strickland mocked the pocket pose and stuck his hand in his pants and suckered Orange Cassidy to the floor where he gained control. He slammed him on his bad hand and then posted him as well. Back inside the ring, Cassidy did a victory roll and got to the outside again where Strickland held on and Cassidy hit the roll into the barricade, followed by a dive. They returned to the ring where Cassidy got a two off of a top rope crossbody until both fought up the ropes, where both slammed each other on their head. This is kind of a weird spot because it's like they're both kind of climbing the turnbuckle on either side, and then they just stand there for like 20, 30 seconds. And I'm like, okay, what are they going to do? Someone going to suplex the other? What are they going to do? And they're not moving. They're not like struggling. They're not fighting each other. They're not, oh my God, I'm going to lose my balance. They're just standing there for like 20, 30 seconds and then just both fall, crashed their head on the turnbuckle, and then to the floor below. So that was a little wonky looking spot. Like, it didn't look like too planned of a spot. It looked too planned out. And it didn't look real as far as them losing their balance. Anyways, they eventually returned to the ring. Also, there was a commercial break and an ad for Collision that they kept saying this was without having any graphics or something saying it, they kept calling this the second coming of CM Punk in this Collision commercial. Strickland gained the advantage during a picture-in-picture break as Cassidy battled out of a JML driver, tried a beach break. Cassidy's back then seized up, but he did manage to hit a stun dog millionaire. Cassidy charged, but Strickland countered into a rolling flatliner. Cassidy tried the light strikes, ultimately planting Strickland with a DDT for a 2. Cassidy was cut off and planted him with a DVD on the apron, but scooted away before the double stomp could follow. With Strickland backed up on the steps, Cassidy connected with a diving DDT from the apron to the floor below. Back inside the ring, another DDT off the top for a close near fall. Cassidy countered a pop-up powerbomb into a Hurricane Rana pin, but couldn't hook Strickland's legs due to the bad hand. Prince Nana then tried to run some distractions as Strickland collided with his manager into Orange Cassidy and an orange punch and then a beach break. Strickland kicked out, bailing to the outside. Cassidy then tried another diving DDT, but Strickland caught him into a brainbuster on the floor. Back inside the ring, Strickland hit the house call kick and a swerve stomp, but Cassidy kicked out and Strickland could not believe it. Cassidy then rolled through a JML driver and both men tried some roll-ups with handfuls of tights as Cassidy got the last laugh, getting the 3 count on Swerve Strickland. Strickland tried to cheat. Cassidy then cheated himself and picked up the victory. Mogul Embassy then hit the ring and immediately beat down Cassidy, where the lights would go out, and out would come Darby and Sting to make the save. Mogul Embassy bailed up the ramp, and there we go. What'd you think of the match?
I thought the match was pretty good. Good way to start up the show. I feel really bad for Darby because they literally went from putting him in the World Championship match at Double or Nothing to now back to the mid card. Like, what the heck?
I mean, is it any worse than what they're doing with Jungle Boy?
Not really, but still.
And I mean, Sammy, where's Sammy been since Double or Nothing? We haven't seen Sammy at all. At least we've seen Jungle Boy and Darby. Unless Sammy's been on.
Unless Sammy's probably just taking time off to spend time with I
don't know. Unless he's been on like Rampage and I just haven't realized it.
Probably.
But regardless, good match to open up the show. I liked it. I thought it was good.
I assume maybe next week they do Darby and Orange Cassidy versus Brian Cage and Swerve.
So when do you eventually get to the trios match with Sting? You got to build to it.
I mean, who's the third that you can add with the Embassy? Just
either
someone from Gates of Agony?
Yeah, it's one of those two.
Where the heck has Parker Benjero and that other guy been?
Oh, I have no clue.
They just like
no
about those guys.
When they merged Mogul Embassies and Mogul affiliates in the Embassy, those guys just disappeared. They're still on the AEW roster page as far as the website does go, but they haven't been on anything. Like, I'm gonna look up Parker Benjero cage match. Has he been working any? I don't know if he's worked anything. Let's see. Parker Benjero has not had a match since. Yeah. Him and Swerve took on Dustin Rhodes and Keith Lee on March 3rd. That was the last time he's done anything, and that was a Rampage. So, yeah. And I don't even remember the other guy's name.
Yeah. Well, they don't even mention that other guy's name. They just say, like, I don't even know who this guy is.
Well, I can. His name's on the roster page. We can go check that really fast. It is. I want to say it starts with a T. Let's see. Trench. His name was Trench. And according to the AEW roster page, he is listed as a member of Mogul Embassy, but hasn't been with them since the merger. So I don't know. but he's listed as a member of Mogul Embassy. Parker Boudreaux as well. Which, the really, really funny thing of all that is they merged the embassy and Mogul affiliates, but then when like any of them come out, the graphics on the screen just say the embassy. Like they haven't even made new graphics to say Mogul Embassy, which is very weird.
Yeah, that is. I mean, AEW also takes forever to like update stuff. Like think of it, when Britt Baker lost the AEW Women's Championship, it took forever to like, get rid of that women's title from her like entrance video.
Oh, well, that's not that big of a deal because it's just showing what she has done. But when you have a faction with a specific name, you would think that the graphics should have that name on it. No, they just have the embassy graphics. Like, come on. What are you doing? Give us Mogul Embassy if that's the name. Doesn't move forward. Video package highlighting Switchblade Jay White versus Ricky Starks. And that's when they told us this match will be the main event of tonight's show. And so I go, oh, there's one of two things here happening. There's one of two things happening with this. Either A, we're going to get some like new Bullet Club member, and that's why it's got to be in the main event. Or B, people are not going to watch till the main event. I don't see Ricky Starks versus versus Jay White in the main event holding people till the end of this show, till whenever this match starts. I don't see it as I got to stick around till the end for this match kind of match. Unfortunately, seeing how we've seen it before already. If this was like the first time and they've actually really been building stuff up, and maybe after they announced the whole Joe and Bullet Club versus Punk and FTR, maybe someone may have thought, maybe Joe's going to show up and help Jay White. But he didn't, so I don't know. I just didn't see this as a match that's going to hold the audience all the way through.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I mean, it really didn't surprise me that this was the main event. If I had to, like, originally, I guess it would probably be Blackpool Combat Club and Chaos. Like, I thought that would originally be the main event.
Well, I thought it was just going to be Orange defending against Swerve because they've actually kind of built that up since Double or Nothing. So I thought that could have been the main event. But
well, I knew Orange Cassidy would open up the show.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
How many times?
That's exactly where I was.
Yeah, opened up the show.
That was going to be my thing. But they love opening with Orange, so to each their own. Where was I? I lost my spot in my notes. After this, Bryan Danielson comes out and makes his way to commentary. We get a video package highlighting his challenge to Kazuchika Okada for Forbidden Door. Okada has accepted. And when Okada steps in the ring with Danielson, he's stepping foot in the desert. And there will be no rain in the desert for the Rainmaker. Danielson said something, I didn't write it down, but he said something along the lines of, they call him the once-in-a-generation, once-in-a-lifetime talent. Well, they've never seen me. So. But Danielson was out there because of the next match. It was the Blackpool Combat Club, Jon Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, and Wheeler Yuta taking on Chaos, Chuck Taylor, Trent Beretta, and Rocky Romero. I thought this was a good, solid, wouldn't call it a great match, but I thought this was a solid trios match, which did what we thought. Gonna give the Blackpool Combat Club another victory.
It's going to be interesting to see what they do with BCC at Forbidden Door.
Well, I mean, the Hung Bucks want the BCC next week, I think it is. So, but yeah, you said after Forbidden Door. So here's my one thing I don't like about Forbidden Door. Forbidden Door, just, I guess you can say, pauses all storylines. And then it's like, oh, so we're kind of still building storylines, but we have this big show that doesn't really have anything to do with storylines. So we're going to build past that. I don't know. I feel like Forbidden Door kind of screws with things if we still have storylines going on. Now, if Double or Nothing was a show where it ends all storylines and things restart after, then maybe Forbidden Door wouldn't be so weird and just randomly thrown in there. But for me, I just feel like Forbidden Door kind of just either A, becomes an afterthought in a last minute, oh crap, here's what we have, or it messes up things in a way where storylines kind of have to get jumbled around. And I know I'm just repeating myself now, and almost forgotten about for a couple of weeks, which hurts storylines in the long term, if that all makes sense.
I mean, it was kind of like that last year.
I mean, yes and no, because at least, like, say with the IWGP title match 4-way last year, we still were getting Adam Cole and Adam Page storyline because they were both in that match. We were still getting Okada, Jay White storyline. They were still feuding technically in New Japan, so then they brought that to that 4-way match. So we were still getting some storyline stuff, but this year just feels like, oh, Forbidden Door is almost an afterthought. We kind of just have to do it because we did it last year and we want to do another one, but we're throwing it in here randomly. We're going to screw some stuff up, and then we'll just refresh and restart as soon as this is over. So, I don't know. It doesn't feel as smooth going into it, and maybe because they just haven't really done anything on Dynamite for it yet, as it did 2, 3, 4 weeks out last year. As far as the trios match does go, as Caliber mentioned, to those unaware, Best Friends are members of Chaos, along with Rocky Romero, as the faction is led by Kazuchika Okada. Trent and Chuck chucked chairs at both Yuta and Moxley as they were coming out for their entrance before the match could even start, and Rocky hit Claudio with a dive. Beretta followed this up with a superplex on Yuta to start the match, as Taylor hit a snap pile driver on the man he trained for a near fall. The match broke down with some brawling on the outside as Taylor hit a somersault dive on Claudio, leading to Chaos, giving the people what they wanted, the triple hug. There was a soul food half and half suplex on Moxley that led to Yuta tripping up Taylor to lead to a Moxley cutter to gain control. Danielson then insulted Best Friends for not attempting to go for the pin before the BCC took over during a picture-in-picture. Chuck Taylor was worked over the entire break, eating a Yuta snap German suplex, but ultimately Taylor hit a knee to make the hot tag to Beretta, who ran wild on Moxley. There was a blind tag to Rocky, who ran wild a bit by himself, and then they did some Roppongi Vice spots, hitting a jumping double knee on Moxley, who was hung up, and then hit a double team offense for a 2. Beretta blocked a Gotch pile driver from Moxley as Best Friends connected with a strong 0 for a close 2. Rocky then sank in a cross arm breaker as Beretta tried to go for a moonsault to the floor on Claudio, who hit an incredible uppercut out of midair. Yuta then clocked Taylor with a Busaku knee as Moxley countered the submission from Romero into a Bulldog choke for the victory. Yuta was relentless on his post-match attack of Chuck Taylor as a smiling Danielson was giving his approval on commentary for the viciousness of Wheeler Yuta. So there we go. Fun match. Feels solid, and everyone looked good.
Yeah, I agree. Honestly, here's what they can do with BCC and Hung Bucks. Maybe they kind of do something like with JAS and like another team. I forgot who they did this tag match with last year, but like maybe they can do like BCC and someone from New Japan versus the Hung Bucks and someone from New Japan.
Yeah.
Like 8-man tag. Like that's what I would do. Because they're still feuding with each other.
So you're saying they did with the JAS last year at Forbidden Door?
Yeah, they had JS and
I'm looking it up.
Suzuki versus somebody. I forgot who it was.
So it was. Why do I not see this on here? Oh, it was Suzuki, Jericho, and Sammy against Eddie Kingston, Shota Umino, and Wheeler Yuta. That's what it was. And last year, I just lost it. The quote Bullet Club. It was the Young Bucks and El Phantasmo took on Shingo, Sting, and Darby Allin. That's what the Bucks did last year.
I mean, they could do that with BCC versus the Hung Bucks.
Yes and no, because then there wouldn't be no New Japan people in that match.
Like, add New Japan people in that match, though.
I guess. Yeah. Add 1 and 1, make it 8-man. Gotcha. That makes sense. Yeah, I could see that possibly. And then, I mean, you've already got
tagged with.
Go for it.
Who tagged with Claudio and Moxley at Dominion?
Oh, Shota Umino. That's what I was about to say. He'd be the perfect person to add. It'd be Umino. Yeah, so you already have the fourth person for the BCC. If you don't, well, it can't be Danielson. He's facing Okada. So you have the fourth person in Shota Umino. But now you need to figure out who that fourth person would be. Well, hold on. Actually, that fourth person with the Young Bucks would just end up being... Hold on. Ishii. Because Ishii faced the BCC at Dominion when he teamed with Okada and Tanahashi. So it would either be, Tanahashi and the Young Bucks against the BCC and Umino. So either Tanahashi or Ishii. If we're going with your 8-man assumption, it can be Tanahashi and Ishii and the Hung Bucks against the BCC and Shota Umino. That would not be a bad one at all. And then you could throw Tanahashi in there. Tanahashi doesn't have to work a singles because his knees are all messed up and his back's not that great right now. He's been working a lot of tags. So that would be good for Tanahashi.
Yeah. I would probably do Tanahashi instead of Ishii because I really want to see Ishii versus Orange Cassidy.
Right. That one, him and Orange Cassidy makes... Because I forgot about him getting pulled from the 4-way. But now that you say it, that's like the match they have to do. They almost have to do it because now you can be like, oh, well, he's just getting the opportunity that he lucked out of last year.
There was a lot of injuries last year. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
Tony Khan said he really wanted to use Kyle O'Reilly at Forbidden Door, but he got hurt.
Yep. And then Adam Cole worked hurt and got even more hurt. So...
CM Punk got hurt before.
Well, they're dealing with injuries now. Apparently, according to Sports Illustrated, Tony talked with Mercedes and was going to try and get Mercedes Moné for Forbidden Door. I would have assumed that Mercedes would have won the Strong Woman's belt and defended it at Forbidden Door. That's what I would have assumed would have happened. So I can see Willow having a match, whether it's on the main card or the pre-show, for the Strong Women's Championship.
I would say if she's defending the belt, probably on the pre-show, but if she's just going to have a match with somebody, maybe do it on the main show.
Well, wait, why would you put the title on the pre-show and not
if she's going to like team?
If it's a tag team match, yeah, do it on yeah. But also,
I know that came off a little weird.
Right. But I do like having one title match on the pre-show because you got to have something big to entice people last minute to buy. And that would be having her defend the belt on the pre-show would not be a bad idea. To say, hey, look, Willow's defending her title on this pre-show. You can get more title matches on the main show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So give me 1 second. My daughter tried to call me. Okay. Got it. So where were we? Young Bucks. They're backstage talking about how next week they're going back to where Dynamite began. The Bucks and Hangman Page issue a challenge in a 6-man tag or trios to the BCC's. Woo, excuse me. To the BCC's Moxley, Castagnoli, and Wheeler Yuta. There was a video package also that played, hyping up Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay. A bunch of highlights were shown from their Wrestle Kingdom match. Ospreay says he wants revenge for what Omega put him through. And his victory over Lance Archer at Dominion, they showed highlights from that and said that the match is official for Forbidden Door. Then we got the best thing on this show. MJF and Adam Cole. This was not just the best thing on this show, one of the best segments we've seen on Dynamite in a minute. Like, this was great. Both of these guys going back and forth. All of MJF's dirt sheet WWE callbacks and whatnot. Oh, was this great. Like, MJF starts it off, and I thought he was going to get a Forbidden Door match here. Because he comes out and is like, there's nobody in this company good enough to face me. There's nobody in AEW on my level. There's nobody here on the level of the devil. And so I was like, totally just, oh, all right, who's the New Japan wrestler coming out to challenge him for Forbidden Door? Because he kept saying, nobody in this company on my level. And then we hear, it's all about the, and the Adam Cole's music hits. So Adam Cole comes out, and I loved this. Adam Cole's in the ring, and he's getting ready to do his Adam Cole baby, and he's down, and he's getting ready to do it. He's getting ready, and then MJF's like, cut the music, cut his music. No, cut it. And the crowd hates him for it because they didn't get their Adam Cole baby line. So I thought that was the perfect heel way to use MJF. Then they go on and have just a banger of a segment. So, MJF demands that the music be cut. MJF says, finally, some competition. He said, I'm a fan of yours. When CM Punk left me as a kid, I turned the channel and I found Ring of Honor, where I saw a bunch of people that sucked. And then all of a sudden I saw you, somebody who didn't suck. MJF mentioned Cole's time in CZW. Traveling the indies, going to Florida, shocking the system, becoming Shawn Michaels' hand-picked guy, the best world champion that company's ever have, and being undisputed. MJF then said that he followed in Cole's footsteps, going to CZW, becoming a huge name on the indies, and then signing with AEW, destined to one day feud with Cole. MJF was disappointed, though, because look who you are now and who you used to be. You used to be the Panama Playboy, and now you're the Panama Game Boy. He's like, you're more occupied about your video games than you are about the competition in the ring. He's like, and then don't even get me started about Britt. She's always here with your balls in her purse. He's like, you're more frail than... MJF said Cole is now so frail, he makes crack whores jealous. He's like, and we're not even going to talk about your body. You had the body of a world champion, and now you're not even close to that. MJF said that the fans might think Cole isn't utilized properly, but AEW has done everything they could to help get Cole over, when all they have done to do for MJF is ring the bell. And here's my question. Do you remember where that line came from? That all we have to do for me is ring the bell? Do you remember where that line came from?
I don't.
So, when Adam Cole was feuding with Karrion Kross in NXT, Adam Cole told Karrion Kross, you've got everything to be the top guy here. And WWE is doing everything, or NXT is doing everything to position you as such. But what makes Adam Cole the best is all they got to do is ring the bell. So that was a callback to Adam Cole's promo to Karrion Kross in NXT, which I thought was awesome because I loved that line so much. MJF says, I've done so many things. I've had the best dog collar match ever. I've had the best Iron Man match ever. I've had the best four-way ever, which that's not true. I've seen plenty of four-ways better than that double or nothing garbage fire. MJF said that he had heard a rumor that a certain individual over at Titan Towers didn't think Cole could make it as a top guy. And then he goes, oh, and I'll just say that guy's name, it's Vince McMahon, who I'm a really big fan of. MJF then thought that old man may have lost his marbles, but now that I'm standing in the ring with you, Cole, no, Vince was right. Cole then asked, that was the best MJF's got, as MJF is coming across like an internet troll. Cole questioned MJF's fascination with other people's relationships and asked why that's why his fiance left him, why he can't keep a relationship himself. Cole said that MJF is world-class, a world-class douchebag. Cole, in regards to his body of work, says MJF can't touch him and asked if they should go if they should go backstage, both piss in a cup and see who's actually natural or not. And I go, oh, are you trying to say MJF's taking something? MJF's popping something? MJF can't pass a drug test? We know AEW don't test for anything. So that line got me like, oh my, what? Cole then swears on his life. No one backstage respects MJF, as everybody thinks he's selfish, conceited, and does the bare minimum to get where he is. MJF says he'll cry into his money, and how that's tough talk coming from Keith Lee's manager. Another callback to a dirt sheet rumor. Cole said that's typical MJF, creating a false narrative, calling him a coward for not wanting to fight. Cole said that he's better than MJF. All of them know it. MJF then gets mad and says, fine, you want to fight? You want to fight me? I'll fight you anywhere, anytime. It doesn't matter. Cole then smirked and goes, attaboy, champ. Then he does. He gets down, and he gives the crowd what they want. They're Adam Cole, baby, before leaving the ring. What did you think of that awesome segment there?
Oh yeah, this segment was the best thing of the night. Like, I don't know how you guys feel, but like whenever they make like WWE references, like for example, when MJF said like you were their best world champion over in that company, like that's totally fine. That's totally fine than them just ripping on WWE. Like, you feel the same way?
Yes. I don't mind when they call back to former WWE's guys' careers and highlights. But it's like you said, when they're ripping on WWE, when they're trying to make fun of WWE, when they're trying to poke fun, make fun, same thing. When they're trying to like get a jab in is when it's kind of dumb. But when they do something like this and they're like calling back to his career there, saying you were Shawn Michaels' handpicked guy. You were one of the best world champions they ever had. And Vince didn't see you as a top guy. Well, that's half true. Because the rumor was it was Bruce Pritchard who didn't see him as a top guy, who thought he was too small, wanted to change his name, and wanted to make him Keith Lee's manager. The rumor from Meltzer was that was all Pritchard. Regardless if it was Pritchard or Vince, it doesn't really matter in the long term. But, yeah, no, I don't have a problem when they call back to it, I guess you can say. And they're not just using the segment to make fun of or poke fun of or joke on or shit on, trash on, whatever, WWE.
That's what I liked about this promo. They're kind of like, oh, you were the best, like in WWE, like you did so good there. But apparently, like, it's like maybe that was probably supposed to be a rip, but I didn't really view it as
No.
in my opinion.
So I liked that they used MJF in two different ways, because I sent out a tweet that literally was, oh, MJF is like praising Adam Cole. Where's this going? And then like a minute and a half later, Oh, there it is. Now he's saying that he's not as good as he once was. So that's what they used it all as. They used his WWE success to then say, well, you were super successful there. What have you done since coming here? Oh, nothing. So I liked that. I liked that they used that, saying you were one of the best guys they had in that brand. You were one of the best guys that they could have pushed. You were one of the best guys that they could have elevated. But they didn't think you were at the level to be elevated. And now that I see you here in AEW and you haven't done anything as of, significant here in AEW yet, I understand why they didn't push you bigger there. So no, I liked it because they served two purposes. MJF put Adam Cole over as a viable challenger, as somebody that he at least at one point saw on his level, which he doesn't see many at, but then at the same time says, but you may not be now. So I like that a lot. I liked it a lot. So then we had the Texas Tornado match. It was Jack Perry and Hook against Preston Vance and Dralistico with Jose the assistant. Now, I have a question for you. This match went a good amount and even had a commercial break. But was it just me, or did it feel like that they wanted to do so much in this match that this match almost felt like it was on fast forward and they were rushing through stuff to get spots in? Even with the commercial. Even with the commercial.
I feel like they wanted to wait and do those spots right after the commercial break. So they had to hurry up and all right, let's get these spots real quick.
Well, yeah. So, okay. That actually makes more sense than what I was thinking. That they wanted to get more in after the break than before. Because I felt like the match started off okay, but after the break, they were rushing. And I didn't feel like any spot got time to sit and fester's not the right word, but it's you should be able to see a spot, take it in oh shit, they went through a table off the apron. But by the time you even realize what they did, boom, they're already at the next thing, setting up the next spot. So, and maybe you're right there as far as they wanted all the big spots after the break. And so they had to cram everything in after the commercial. That's how it felt. After the commercial, they were just on fast forward mode. And I hope Preston Vance is okay because he lost a lot of blood. He was not just bleeding, he was dumping buckets all over Hook. I at one point, I think it was Excalibur who said, I can't even tell you if that's Preston Vance's blood or Hook's blood. There's so much blood on Hook.
Yeah, hopefully Preston Vance is okay.
Yeah, because he was bleeding from the left side of his face? And it wasn't just little blood coming out. It was bah, 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 bah. You just see it just draining out of his face. All the way down him. And then when he droop his head down, it just come holy Nikes. But Vance and Dralistico attacked Perry on the ramp during his entrance as Jose threw in cable cords into the ring. Vance tried to charge at Hook ringside with a chain, but Hook low-bridged and they brawled into the crowd. Perry then choked Dralistico with a cord and ripped at his mask, basically ripping almost half the mask off. Vance and Hook then kept on brawling in the crowd during the break. During the break, Dralistico hit a double stomp on Perry, who was tied up in the ropes. Hook then leapt off the barricade and popped Vance with the chain, and then the chain punch wrapped around his... Okay, I wrote this very weird. Hook leapt off the barricade and had the chain wrapped around his hand and punched Vance, which I think is where he got busted open. I think the chain punch from Hook was so stiff that it literally punched him in the face. They didn't pull the punch or anything, and I believe that's where he started bleeding. Perry then tried to dive, but Vance caught him, and Dralistico followed with a leap off the top to the floor. With two tables set up at ringside, Hook fought off a double choke slam and hit an overhead throw on Dralistico, whose mask is ripped apart at this point from earlier by Jungle Boy. Vance then hit a crazy hard clothesline on Hook on the outside, wrapping the chain around the neck, and he went to the apron when Perry flew in with a chair shot to the head. Hook hit a nasty T-bone suplex off the apron through the tables as Perry spiked Dralistico on a chair in the ring with a DDT, but Jose made the save. He took his shirt off and hulked up, only to get the red rum put on him by Hook. Perry then sank in the snare trap and Dralistico for the tap-out victory. Hook and Jungle Boy get the big win. So yeah, again, my notes are written all weird because I couldn't keep up with this match because there's just so much going on. What'd you think?
A lot of blood in this match, I will say.
Yeah.
But hopefully they don't do this with Jungle Boy like down the road. Hopefully him and Hook is just like another like one-time thing.
Hope so.
Because like I just don't want them to do another Jungle Hook match again.
Yeah, it's not needed. Especially when you try to push Jungle Boy as a top guy, world title challenger, and then you put him in this. It's just like, oh, he's just another guy on the roster. Yeah, that's why we weren't supposed to care about that world title match anyways. So, So then,
at least for like,
go for it.
At least for example, like when they had Ricky Starks compete for that world title against MJF that one time, they're still trying to make Ricky Starks like a top guy. They had him beat Chris Jericho,
right?
For example.
Exactly. So then we get, hey, our weekly Tony Khan announcement. Tony Khan is backstage and says that he would like to announce the main event of the first episode of AEW Collision that will start on June 17th from the United Center in Chicago, Illinois. He then says, just like this, Switchblade Jay White, Juice Robinson, and Samoa Joe will battle against the AEW Tag Team Champions FTR and CM Punk. What is with this guy? What is with this guy? So, if you guys didn't catch that, the main event of the first episode of Collision on June 17th will be Bullet Club Gold, Juice Robinson, and Jay White teaming with the Ring of Honor Television Champion Samoa Joe against CM Punk and the AEW World Tag Team Champions FTR. But just the way Tony delivered this, he's like, the AEW World Tag Team Champions FTR and CM Punk. I'm like, okay, guy. But yeah, interesting. Punk's getting all the guys he wanted to work with and the guys he wanted to team with, his boys, FTR.
Honestly, not the main event I expected.
Nah, I expected a singles match.
I thought CM Punk was just gonna do like a promo thing on Collision. I didn't expect him to actually fight.
I could see that. I was 50-50 on it. I thought that if Punk was going to have a match, they were going to literally set it up on the show. Like he opens the show, somebody like Joe interrupts, and then we get the main event set there. I didn't think they were going to announce it ahead of time. That's why when they were like, we're going to announce the main event of the first Collision, I'm like, huh? You're not even going to like build anything with it? You're not even going to be like, oh, Punk's going to come out or somebody's going to come out on Collision or on Dynamite? And no, just none of that. So, yeah.
How's ticket sales been doing for Collision?
The first Collision? I can look. I know the first Collision's doing okay. Every other Collision is not. Even since Punk's been announced. And I think the thing about that is people in Canada aren't going to care about Collision because they don't get Collision. As far as we know right now, just like with Rampage, Collision doesn't air. Ooh, just announced by New Japan. On July 4th in Korakuen Hall in Japan, Jon Moxley. Hold on, is this a tag match? Jon Moxley will be teaming with Homicide against El Desperado and a mystery partner. I thought we were just going to get the singles match when Desperado called him out. No. on the first night of Independence Day, which is technically July 3rd here in America, it's going to be Moxley and Homicide against El Desperado and a mystery partner. Oh, I'm liking that. I'm liking that a lot. Let's see, Collision tickets.
Moxley fought Desperado at that StarCast show last year.
And that's where Desperado's wanting the rematch, because Desperado called Moxley out for a rematch recently.
I was actually at that show. I was really kind of upset because I missed that match, because if we stayed for that match, we probably would have been late for SummerSlam, because I was going to SummerSlam that same day.
Gotcha.
So that was the same. That was like the reason, because because the reason why I bought the tickets for that show is because I really wanted to see Moxley versus Desperado.
Right. So, to answer your question about Collision, the show is set up for 10,000 fans, which that building can do 20. 8,000 tickets have been sold. There are 2,214 tickets still available, and not sold but distributed, means put out. Maybe all not sold. And since Punk was announced last week, 994 tickets were sold. Since Punk was announced for the first Collision, almost 1,000 tickets have been sold as of Monday. This is as of Monday. So I don't have an update for the last 2 days.
So they're doing okay. That first show.
But let me see if I could see other. I don't see any other. I'm looking on WrestleTix Twitter. I don't subscribe to their Patreon, where they probably keep things even more up to date. But yeah, I don't see any of the other Collision shows on their Twitter. But I know like there's one in like Hamilton that's not even got like maybe 1,000 tickets sold, if that. Which is not good at all.
So they're basically trying to make it sound like you can always see CM Punk on Collision. It's probably their way of trying to like help out ticket sales, but
that is the plan. Punk is not going to work Dynamite because basically Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks don't want him where if Kenny Omega and the Bucks are there, they don't want Punk to be there, is the rumor. Now, how that's going to work for pay-per-views, we'll have to see.
Maybe for pay-per-views, they just keep them as separated as possible.
Right. But the word is that Punk is only going to be working Saturdays as far as television goes. Well, I don't even know if Punk's going to work any of these house shows they've been doing. So, they do Tony Khan's announcement. They then cut to commentary where Excalibur tries to hype up this trios match, and then the camera doesn't cut. And they all are kind of just like, cut the camera. Like they're doing this kind of wave motion. And then out comes Don and Takeshita. And I think it was Taz goes, oh, now I know why the camera didn't want to cut. They didn't want to see Don either. I laughed so hard. You got to love Taz and just how he can just click it on at any time with just these one-liners. So Taz is one of my favorite commentators almost. Taz might be one of my favorite commentators ever. I'll just say that. I love Taz on commentary.
He was one of WWE's commentators back in the early 2000s.
Oh, yeah. He was on. Him and Michael Cole were the SmackDown commentators for all of my childhood. Trust me, I remember sitting in my room with the little 13-inch TV VCR combo and the antennas watching SmackDown on UPN on Thursday nights. My parents would say, time for bed. And I'd go, well, can I at least have the TV on to fall asleep to? And they'd say, sure. Or put a 2-hour timer on your TV. It'll turn off after 2 hours. And I'd watch SmackDown. And yeah, Taz and Michael Cole, they were great together. Taz and Michael Cole were really good together. We had Konosuke Takeshita versus Damon Ace. Never seen or heard this guy before. Takeshita charged at Ace with some strikes as fans were just letting Callis have it with booze. Ace then got off one strike until Takeshita leveled him with a shot, followed by a running knee strike to win it. As the entire match was just over like that. The big screen repeatedly played Callis turning on Kenny Omega. Callis then took the microphone and said, "Unlike last week, we will be heard." Takeshita took the mic and spoke in Japanese briefly before Callis said everything Omega had in his life was because of him. Omega defeated Will Ospreay because of Callis, and Omega has become a cancer in Callis' body. So, he had to cut that cancer out. Callis said that his family will cut the Elite from AEW for good. What did you think of the segment?
Oh, I thought this was a pretty decent segment. I'm still curious to see like who Don Callis adds with Kesha, because he keeps saying like, "I'm gonna grow my family." I'm curious to see who they actually add.
Okay, so Fonzie in the chat says the one in Hamilton only sold 700 tickets. That's what I thought it was, but I didn't want to be wrong, so I said less than 1,000 just to be safe. I thought it was only 700. Yeah. Just think about it. And I get it. They can make it look good on TV because they had to do that for the Fresno show. The Fresno show sold pretty well, but for some reason, there were a lot of open spots. So when I went to Dynamite, I sat under the hard cam, like the side under the hard cam looking at the ring. And there were 3 or 4 rows in my section that they asked people, would you like to be moved to the other side of the building, but lower than you're sitting now? Because they needed to fill empty spots that the hard cam was going to see. So they're going to have to do a lot of that moving around, I think, when it comes to this Hamilton show. Because if they only sold 700 tickets, I don't know how many seats this building holds, but they're going to have to get as many people moved on that hard camera side as possible and not have a lot of wide crane shots then. Whew. That's going to stink.
I know when I went to SummerSlam last year, like they sold like 40,000, which is a lot.
Right.
But like in the stadium, there was like one half of the stadium that was like filled with people, and the other half was just like completely empty. So,
well, that was the plan though. They only did half the building. They did the same thing the year before in Vegas. They only set it up for half the building.
Still though.
Alex Marvez is here backstage with Christian Cage. He's at Christian's locker room where commotion was heard. Cage then came out and said that he was the uncrowned TNT champion. Something Arn Anderson cost him. And I go, what? The uncrowned TNT champion? You lost that match, bro. Cage revealed that Luchasaurus had bloodied Arn's son, Brock. Or Arn's son, Brock. So this was his early Father's Day present. I didn't like this at all. This is kind of weird and dumb.
Alex Marvez gave off a really like weird vibe during.
He always does. He always does.
Where did AEW even find this guy anyway?
Dave Meltzer told Tony Khan to hire him. He's Dave's buddy. At least was. This guy's so bad that they had him on commentary for the first show and said, oh boy, we got to pull you. We're going to make you a backstage interviewer, and you're still not that good at that. So, yeah. This segment was not it. They have a lot of
backstage interviewers that just suck. The only good one is Renee.
Hey, what's her name? DDP's stepdaughter or whatever, or ex-stepdaughter, or the one related to DDP in a way. She's good. What's her name? Oh. I want to say Kelsey, but I think that's wrong. Hold on.
She's still there?
Yeah. Her and Daddy Magic always do like a rundown of Rampage on Twitter. Lexi Nair. She's good. She's really good. I mean, she's no Renee. No one's a Renee, but no, Lexi's good. I like Lexi. Because like before Rampages, they'll put up a video on Twitter with her and Daddy Magic kind of running down what's going to happen on Rampage. Speaking of Daddy Magic, we saw him during this next match. There's Chris Statlander defending the TBS Championship against Anna Jay AS. Both ladies traded offense on the ground early until Statlander hit a back suplex out of a Jay headlock. Jay took a powder, tried to start a chase as Matt Menard, old Daddy Magic, ran distraction, but Jay's kick from the apron was blocked. There's a thrust kick back inside that led to a missed charge by Statlander, with Jay hitting a spin kick to the back. Jay controlled the entire break, but Statlander turned it around with a corner charge and a power slam. For the second week in a row, Taya Valkyrie shown watching backstage as Statlander went to the top. He was distracted again by Matt Menard to allow Jay to plant Statlander with a near fall. Jay then sank in the Queen Slayer, but Statlander powered up, whipped Jay down, hit the backbreaker and a tombstone pile driver to pick up the victory. Again, Valkyrie was shown furious that Statlander actually picked up the win. And I'm going to just speculate here. I think I understand what the Taya stuff is going to be. I think what Taya is going to do is eventually come out and say, hey, Chris, you're welcome for your title win. You're welcome that I wounded Jade, that I made Jay, what's the word I'm looking for? Tired enough for you to pounce on her and beat her. If it wasn't for me taking Jade to her limit, there would have been no way you could have come out and beat her for the belt. And then she's going to go, so since I essentially helped you win that belt, I want a shot. I think that's how it's going to go. That's just me spitballing an idea.
Probably. And like with this match, I like those like regular like title defense where it went longer than like all these like Jade squash matches. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I totally agree with that and like that as well.
Like, oh, they're doing like regular title defenses here where the matches are like 10 to 15 minutes, then like Jade just doing like 30-second squash matches.
Chris Statlander can work longer matches. Jade can't. So there you go.
True.
So then all of a sudden, we get our main event, and I go, it's main event time already? Wow, this show went quicker than I expected, because I did not expect it to already be the main event by this time. This show flew by. Now, again, I didn't think this was a main event caliber match on paper. I didn't think this was going to be a match to where when they kept telling us this is our main event, it was going to hold people till the end. But as expected, it was a good match. These two did work well together until whatever that finish was that we got with the guns and whatnot. So, Starks sprinted up the ramp to attack before the bell as both men brawled around ringside until Starks hit a high backdrop and searched for something under the ring. This allowed White to crawl up the ramp, where Starks tried to throw him off the ramp, but, White raked the eyes. White took too long to follow up as Starks countered a suplex with one on the floor. That advantage was short-lived as White regained and remained in control during a commercial break. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. They went to commercial and the match hadn't even technically started yet, right? Because neither of them, they hadn't both gotten in the ring to ring the bell.
I don't remember that, honestly.
Because I couldn't remember that. Because like I said, Jay was coming out. Ricky came out first. And then Ricky ran up the ramp and attacked him. And they started brawling on the ramp. Then they went to break. But Witt lit up Starks with some chops until Starks woke up and fired off strikes until White crotched him with him trying to go for a tornado DDT. White connected on a massive superplex because the match actually started during the break. He signaled for the Blade Runner, which Starks battled out of with a leaping lariat and a tornado DDT. There's a full Nelson slam, only that got Starks a 2. And then he tried for the Rochambeau, which White countered into a Uranagi. Both men traded strikes until Starks leapt for a spear, but White countered with a pump knee. Starks floated over a suplex and hit a spear. This was his second attempt and then he hit the Rochambeau, but referee Paul Turner got clipped by pretty much the toe of Jay White, and so he just died from it. Really? I think there's fireworks going off outside. Well, there were.
It's not 4th of July yet.
No. But there were last night because the high school is like one street over, and they were doing fireworks for the high school graduation. So I don't know why they would be. But it sounds like they're doing fireworks again. I don't know. They had the high school graduation last night. Anyways.
Maybe it's just leftover fireworks or something. I don't know.
Maybe because they went for like 10 minutes last night. Just dance, like crazy. Anyways. So the referee gets knocked down by a toe, which this was stupid. The Guns then run out. Lay out Stark with the 310 to Yuma. White connects with the Blade Runner. All of a sudden, Paul Turner's good again. 1, 2, 3. There we go. So, the Guns are Bullet Club. They go from the Firm to the Bullet Club. If you're trying to tell me that this Bullet Club group is supposed to be something of note, it's supposed to be like someone, a group that we're supposed to love, if this is supposed to be anything in line with what Bullet Club used to be, adding the Guns, oh boy, no. No boy,
so here's
no.
my thing with this. If this was like a Bullet Club built around Juice, then I think the Guns would fit in perfectly. Since this is like supposed to be a Bullet Club built around Jay White, I don't think you can take this one seriously. Especially with the Guns just like hopping around from like faction to faction.
Exactly.
Like, how are you supposed to take this seriously?
They're the outcast. They're the real outcast because people want to be with them and then eventually get tired of them and ship them off. Even their own papa shipped them off. But why are we supposed to care about Bullet Club Gold when they've got the rejects, basically, the Guns? And how long till the Guns get moved to another faction? So,
I would say about like 4 months.
Yeah, this didn't do it for me at the end. I liked the match regardless of the end. But once we had that dumb referee bump where he barely got touched, and then the Guns came out. Because I knew somebody was going to come out when they were like, Juice Robinson and FTR are banned from ringside. And then putting this in the main event, that just solidified in my mind, oh, somebody's coming out to help Jay White. Like, had to. So, that was the show. As far as upcoming episodes of Rampage and Dynamite, as far as this week's Rampage does go, the Lucha Bros and Bandito will take on the team of Ethan Page, Big Bill, and Lee Moriarty. Interesting. Matt Hardy let an Ethan Page team with Lee Moriarty. Forgot to mention the Matt Hardy segment, actually. There's a Matt Hardy, Jeff Hardy, Brothers. Oh, don't get me started on this Brothers A bullshit. And Ethan Page. So Ethan Page walks up and Matt's like, apologize to Brothers A for injuring him, hurting his neck. He's like, I'm sorry. And Matt's like, no, give him a real apology, shake his hand. He's like, I'm sorry. Tried to shake his hand, whatever. What is with this Isaiah guy where he moans in your ear? If that ain't the dumbest fucking shit I've ever seen. Oh, yeah, there's fireworks going off like crazy.
I can hear them.
Yeah. If this is not the dumbest fucking gimmick I've ever seen, he moans in your ear. That's turn your TV off bullshit right there. That's giving people a little bit too much freedom to do whatever they want. And stupid as, I'm going to say it, fuck. Maybe I'm not the demo. Maybe I'm too old for this shit, but.
When's his tag partner supposed to come back?
Oh, I don't know. He's hurt. But now they're playing it up.
Hurt for like.
But the weird thing, I don't think
6 months already.
I don't think Isaiah's really hurt. I think it's all storyline injury. Because he took bumps at the pay-per-view in his neck brace. Powerhouse Hobbs will also be in action on Rampage. The Acclaimed and Nettie Ass will take on the team of the Spanish Announce Project, Serpentico, Luther, and Helico. Britt Baker versus... Wait, what? Oh, I read that wrong. Britt Baker will take on Sky Blue and Mercedes Martinez and Nyla Rose, with the winner getting a shot at the AEW Women's title next Wednesday. as far as next Wednesday does go, MJF will have a eliminator match with Adam Cole. Basically, if Adam Cole can beat MJF next week, he gets a world title shot. Tony Storm will take on the winner of the women's four-way, the Mogul Embassy. Here we go. Swerve Strickland, Brian Cage, and the Gates of Agony will take on the team of Orange Cassidy, Darby Allin, Sting, and Keith Lee. So there we go. There's your Mogul Embassy versus Orange, Darby, Sting, and Keith Lee. And then we know that the Hung Bucks will be taking on the BCC. Well, there we go. Any closing thoughts?
We forgot another segment, I believe.
Which one?
Tony Storm and Ruby Soho.
Oh, I didn't even see that. What was it? I must have missed that one when I was.
It was basically. I think it was basically just.
I was fixing one of my light stands that broke. I must have missed it.
It was basically just Tony Storm saying, like, announcing that fatal four-way match on Rampage, and the winner will face her.
Gotcha. Yeah. One of my light stands broke where my light wouldn't sit, like, still. It just wanted to, like, spin. So I had to fix that. But, yeah. There we go. That is everything. And Jake Harper says, the moan gets me every time. You know what gets me with that moan? To almost turn my TV off and change the channel and not watch the show. Because I think it's just the dumbest, dirt worst shit. I've seen some stupid stuff in wrestling. But when a man just walks up to another man and moans in his ear, that's some of the most immature, dumbest stuff I've ever seen. It's not funny. And it, to me, very immature and stupid. But hey, to each their own. If some find it funny, if you find it funny, Jake, hey, more power to you. Not everything's for everybody. But with that, guys, I want to say thank you for joining us here. Twitch.tv/PWU Unlimited, YouTube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited, and podcast services all around the globe like Stitcher, Spotify, Google Pod, Apple Pod, Anchor, iHeartRadio, and so much more. Remember, we will be back this coming Friday morning for the wrestling wrap-up, and then Friday evening for Friday Night SmackDown. Remember, as far as the wrestling wrap-up does go, get your questions in by heading over to pwunlimited.co/mailbag, and maybe your question just might get read live on the air. Excuse me, try not to burp. I drink too much Mountain Dew today. So with that, have a great rest of your Wednesday. Have a great rest of your week. I've got a busy day tomorrow. Have a good one, guys. We'll see you next time. Oh, I forgot the polls. Crap. Oh, well, too late now. If you're still watching on Twitch, we're going to hit up a raid really fast. We are going to go raid. Huh. All the normal people we usually raid are not live. So I'm just going to send you to Snowbike Mike. I'm going to send you to Snowbike Mike. Over there, hang out with him. Have a great time. And we will see you later.